All right, man. Peace. So recently there was a little bit of a controversy over a social media interaction that Kevin Durant had with a fan, in which the fan stated that LeBron James was better than him, and of course KD disagreed, as he was supposed to. Of course, that caused a little bit of controversy in the sports talk world. Let's see what they have to say about it. Of course, I'm going to chime in.
Love it. And in the finals, I got to tell you, if I'm just going off what happened on the biggest stage in the sport, he proved before my very eyes he's better than your guy. Because he shot that three right in your guy's face, and that changed everything. Could we see that three?
No, we don't need to
I want to see it.
We don't need to see it. I don't ever want to see my man LeBron get embarrassed. Hell no. I love that man more than I love life itself.
Yeah, I got to see
It happened.
one time.
That
He's walking it up. He's walking it up. What? LeBron, you got to get your hand up.
He got his
Get your hand up.
He got his hand up. LeBron's the greatest man of all time. He got his hand in the air like the Statue of Liberty. The perfect defense.
LeBron?
No, he got
Don't let him walk into that.
He just got to hug up to him.
Oh, that was nothing but net.
Can I ask you a
And it was
question?
nothing but Cavaliers all over the floor because they were done in the King's house.
Can I ask you a question? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, we're doing hypotheticals. And I don't really like to do that, but just for the sake of this argument, I will. If you swap teams, you put LeBron James on the Warriors with the team that's currently constructed, and you put Kevin Durant with Kyrie in Cleveland, who wins the series?
Well, who knows? It's most likely that Golden State would win, but they run a system. Wherever LeBron goes, they run the LeBron system because he has to have the ball all the time. All right, so that's that's a loaded question. What made Golden State so potent was that Durant fit perfectly into their system. All right, they demand guys who can dribble, pass, shoot, and play defense. All right, all their guys must be able to do that, as well as rebound. All right, there's a reason why Curry averaged 8 rebounds in the finals. They demand that all their players be multifaceted. Of course, LeBron is multifaceted, but he's not one to be in an equal opportunity offense. Everything has to go through him. So, I mean, that's a bit of a loaded question. Most likely Golden State would have won because you would think that by the end of the season, LeBron James would be acclimated into playing in that type of offense. But Kevin Durant just fit perfectly in there with them. And it's just funny. All of a sudden, Shannon has all these excuses when going into the finals and throughout the whole season. All he and all the other LeBron James idolaters were saying that Cleveland owned Golden State and they were all up in their head. It's hilarious to me. The way that these guys talk, you would think that Cleveland has swept Golden State in the 2016 finals as opposed to coming back from down 3-1 with a game 7 that was anybody's game with a minute left. But, it was just it was just their comeuppance. They got what they deserved. They should have got swept. Cleveland, I'm talking about, in this year's finals. They should have gotten swept.
Well, I don't know.
And I say they should have got swept because Golden State took their feet off the gas pedal in Game 4. They should have hammered it home. But it is what it is.
I'm not sure I'd bet against KD and Kyrie. I'm just not sure.
Why couldn't KD do that when he was why couldn't he do that in OKC?
Well, it wasn't like he was in OKC and they wasn't making the playoffs. I mean, they were very successful against Golden State last year. I don't know if they would have beat Cleveland in the finals, but it would have been a good matchup.
Well, they were up 3-1 on Golden State, and then he didn't like his partner. He thought his partner took too many shots down the stretch.
Okay, when he had James Harden and Russell and him together in OKC, when he was in OKC and LeBron James had a 17-5 advantage, why couldn't he beat LeBron before he got 3 other All-NBA and All-Star players?
Because he was a baby, Shannon. I mean, how old was he in those first finals? What, about 27? 21, 22? I mean, he was 28 in this year's finals in 2017. They played in 2012. So that's 5 years ago. So that means he was about 23, right? 22, 23 years old, most likely. He was a young boy. Everybody knows that that OKC team was they were precocious, right? They were a little bit ahead of their time. Nobody really expected them to beat the Spurs in the conference finals. They did, and they came and they met Miami. They were up 1-0. They were, Game 2 was coming down to the wire, and LeBron got a gift call where he fouled KD, and KD didn't get the call. That changed the whole series. But, I think that Miami was the better team. They They were more experienced, and they won. But let's not just try to act like, oh, well, KD just has never been on LeBron's level. Yes, LeBron was up 17-5 on him in regards to wins to losses, but let's also understand that when KD first came into the NBA, the franchise that he was on, first the Seattle Supersonics and then OKC, they were moribund. It took them a while to build up.
Is he the best?
LeBron had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and Mario Chalmers, who scored 25 points in Game 4.
And he went back with Kyrie. And he
Mike
went back.
Miller, who scored.
And when he went back to
Shane Battier, who hit 6 threes in Game 2.
And he went back to Cleveland, and all he had was Kyrie, and he still thumped it.
No, actually, he had Kyrie, he had Kevin Love, he had Tristan Thompson, he had J.R. Smith. You know what he had, Shannon. He wouldn't have went back to Cleveland unless he had a squad of guys behind him. LeBron does not go anywhere unless he has a squad of guys with him. And I don't begrudge him that, but let's not try to act like he does everything on his own.
Still thumped it.
Yeah.
So guess what? LeBron, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. They're gonna lose more games in the regular season than they lost with Kevin Durant. And now all of a sudden we believe that KD and Kyrie will beat that Warriors team with LeBron. Come on, Skip.
Who stood tallest in the NBA Finals?
Skip.
Kevin Durant.
I
was stunned by it.
What did Mark?
Why you talking about my man like that? You gonna watch your mouth? I'll slap the dog shit out of you talking about my man like that.
Matt Barnes said they had a two-headed monster, but they had a hydra. They had a four-headed monster. A four monster's gonna beat two any day of the week.
I saw Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond basically deferring to the guy that Draymond had to call. Say, we need you, right? That's what you keep saying, right?
But think about it. Steph Curry still averaged 27, 9, and 8.
Yeah, he outplayed your boy Kyrie. He outplayed him. He outplayed Unk. Right? Steph Curry, the same guy that you guys were saying was overrated. You guys said that Kyrie was better than him.
How about 31, 9, and 4? No, for the series, 35, 8, and 5.
Yeah.
But just for that Game 3, 31, 9, and 4.
Yeah. Woo. What did
Game over.
You
Series
LeBron
over.
Stats in that?
Huh? First ever to average a triple-double.
No. Why you do that?
Huh?
Well, you hear what I say. Talk about, huh?
Huh?
I mean, you heard.
Nah.
Can you give me LeBron numbers in Game 3?
No, I can't remember.
Skip.
What were they? I can give you Kyrie's. He had 38.
He didn't have more points than Bron.
Okay. Well, who won?
I know how many points Braun had. Every time Braun score, I get a shiver down my spine. It's a lovely day.
Kevin Durant won.
No.
Who was the Finals MVP?
Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant won, or Kevin Durant's team won?
I think he won.
Can I ask you a question? When LeBron left Cleveland to go to Miami, how many times was Dwayne Wade a league MVP, and how many championships had they won, and how many times had they won 73 games in the regular season?
They won a championship, and Dwayne Wade was the MVP of that championship team, Shannon. Like, come on, man. Don't try to demean or denigrate Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is a Hall of Fame player. All right? No, he didn't win any MVPs, but he didn't play in that era where perimeter players were getting MVPs. You know, during the mid-2000s, that was mostly a very, very physical era, right? That's one of the reasons. I mean, even Kobe Bryant only got one MVP. When you look in the mid-2000s, the MVPs were basically going to all big men other than when they gave it to Steve Nash when they were trying to promote a multicultural league and also trying to encourage the opening of the offenses. All right? If I remember correctly, and also, of course, AI won it in 01. But he had the season that he had that year was an anomaly. To have a guy that size average over 30 and have that team win almost 60 games with almost nobody else really on the team. That was a combination of how well Allen Iverson played that season, the fact that all his teammates bought in, and the coach as well. But for the most part, I mean, come on. We know that Dwayne Wade was a great player. No, he was never a regular season MVP. He had a lot of injury problems, especially after the championship season. But he was a great player, particularly when he was healthy.
Well, they won one championship.
They did.
Wade was
And
finals
Dwayne
MVP.
Wade was not a stats
How long
player.
ago- how long
He
ago was
not
that?
A ball hog.
2006.
And LeBron joined the team in what year? Oh, so 4 years.
4 years later.
Y'all just
Is that like, is that a long time or something?
I'm just asking. So one guy joins the team 4 years after the fact. Another guy joins the team. They had just won 73 games. They had just lost the NBA Finals, and the guy that was on their team that's in his absolute prime had just won a unanimous MVP award. And somehow we think just because two guys swap teams as free agents, it's the same. How?
What'd your eyes tell you? What'd your eye test?
What
What did it tell you? Who looked like the better player?
LeBron.
He did.
LeBron. What kind of stupid ass question is that? LeBron's not just the greatest NBA player of all time. He's the greatest man ever lived. Every knee shall bow. LeBron James. The Lamb of God.
LeBron.
You know and I know. It was Kevin Durant. It was his coming out party.
Kevin
I
Love
think
scored
there
6
was a
points.
changing of the guard.
What
the
guard?
guard is KD.
No.
You saw it.
I mean, Buckingham Palace changed guards all the time. There was, I mean, you can't work 24
1 for 1.
hours, but LeBron is still on the throne.
Mm.
Everybody know the king.
What are they saying on Twitter?
Everybody know the king. Greatest king of all time. Got King Arthur, King Charles, and King LeBron. You pick which one you like.
Let me see. Right there. Actually, this guy said he has a high rise in New York.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Kevin Durant, he's got to start rising about this.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I know he likes
we
to
got to
interact
get
with
Joe
fans,
Deasy
but-
on the show. Joe,
Skip.
come on to LA.
And I'm only going to tolerate this Wade slander a little bit longer.
But
Yeah, he got chill with the Dwayne Wade stuff. Dwayne Wade was a phenomenal player. Like, you know, he's now all of a sudden he's trying to denigrate LeBron's teammates to make LeBron look better. That stuff is not necessary. Knock it off, man. His LeBron James idolatry is almost scary.
But Beyonce, sometimes, I mean, Beyonce got like 40, 50 million. I think she got like 60 million Twitter followers and like 85 on Instagram. Sometimes she has Q&A. That's the way of engaging. I can't because you
She doesn't follow
anti-social.
anybody. She's like Skip.
She ain't gonna follow nobody, but I'm saying she talk to people. I'm not anti-social like you.
You know what?
Even Joy looked at him when he said that dumb shit. Like Beyonce's on there really talking to somebody. That bro got one of her assistants talking to these dumbass fans, these idolaters. She ain't talking to no damn body.
That is false. I got to, real quick before we go, I know we got to go. But when we're out, and you can attest to this, if I'm in an airport or certainly after a show on the road, I'll stay as long as they want to stay. I'll talk to everybody. Ask Ernestine. I
Yeah, of
drive her
course.
crazy.
After
on
every show
Saturday
with you on the
night, if
road.
we're out and people come up to talk to me, I'll stand there for 20 minutes talking to them. But I'm not going to engage on Twitter with Joe Deasy.
Well,
I'm just
Skip,
not.
I know
Skip
because
has a no troll rule.
Hey, look, man. Even with my little YouTube channel, I don't tolerate trolls. All right? I say this all the time. I welcome intelligent disagreement. All right? But no, I don't tolerate people trolling. Trolling is what idiots do to make themselves feel like they can be part of any conversation. All right? I don't have time for that. My attitude is if you don't like the content of the channel, move on. Go somewhere where you could be happy. Don't come on my channel, watch every video and say, "Oh man, you're an idiot. You don't know nothing about sports and you making shit." Well, why the fuck you here then? Help yourself out. Go be happy. All right? Go find your dad.
yeah. But here's the thing, though, Skip. I would stay there and talk to him too.
That is not true.
But they want to talk to Sterling.
You get a little frustrated. I know.
They want to talk to Sterling, so Shannon just keep walking in the airport.
Of course you keep walking to the airport because you get on TV and try to front like you're a man of the people and you're a revolutionary. And in real life, those are the same people that you walk up to and try to shake their hand and they act like they got somewhere to go. All right, nothing against Shannon, but you can feel that energy on him. Shannon gets on TV and tries to act like a man of the people, and that's why he's one of the patron saints of the internet revolutionaries. He talk a gang of shit, but in real life, he's not really talking about nothing.
I don't get that ever. An NFL rookie.
But anyway. So now this was a very good roundtable discussion that they had pertaining to the KD and LeBron situation. And Jimmy Jackson is going to say something that I've already stated in the past. So let's see what they have to say.
More LeBron disrespect. Welcome back. Jim Jackson here, joined by the founder of the Big League, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to Kevin Durant. As you just heard, I went off on KD today, and for good reason. Yesterday, a fan on Durant's YouTube page said LeBron's better. Durant replied simply, nah, ridiculous. We know that LeBron's better than Durant. Whitlock?
LeBron is an overall better player, more impactful player than KD, but it's not to the point where it's dismissive. You just dismiss it as if it has no validity whatsoever. All right, Kevin Durant in and of himself is a former league MVP. He's somebody who's led his team to the finals. He's somebody who's constantly led his team to deep runs in the playoffs. They've had injury problems in many of those postseasons. It's not like he's somebody that you just say, oh, well, he's just nowhere near in LeBron's class. LeBron is a great player, but, I've already stated in the past, I believe he's on PEDs, which has helped him not get hurt, allegedly. And, KD is just somebody who's just finally starting to find himself. KD, and I mentioned this already, he's finally embraced the philosophy that I have. And that, the so-called black man is taught that life is supposed to be this big struggle. No, it's not. All right. You have to do what's best for yourself, because at the end of the day, people are going to do what's best for them. It doesn't mean that you be sociopathic or into self-worship, or that you just be negligent of other people's feelings. But you have to ride along with people who are riding along with you. All right. You just can't stick out situations just because you think that you're supposed to go through a torturous life. All right. That's what they wanted KD to do, to stay with OKC and stay with that nut job, Russell Westbrook, when all he had to do was come to a team that was more conducive to his mentality and his style of play, and you see what happened automatically. And that's why I tell a lot of so-called black men, not to digress, but a lot of you guys, you get in these relationships with these women. They don't conduct themselves properly. They show you very early on what they're about, and you try to stick things out because maybe you're just happy to have a female who wants to talk to you. All right, you got to get a little bit more self-esteem than that. And same thing with the women. A lot of these women come on and they want to complain about the men no, the issue that you're dealing with in your life is what you tolerate, as is what you bring into the table, right? And a lot of so-called women, they like low-level men because it's less pressure on them to have to conduct themselves properly, right? A high-level man with a high-level mind is going to make demands of himself as well as the woman. And a lot of times females don't like that type of pressure. They don't want to be with a man who's too, quote unquote, too good, because if the relationship doesn't work, they have nobody to blame but themselves. All right. But I'll probably be doing a video on that sentiment, and I'll expound on that a little more down the line. But to get back to the topic at hand, KD really took the LeBron model. LeBron realized that Cleveland was not going to be the place where he could reach his full potential, so he went somewhere else. All right. And that's a part of life. And that's something that the so-called black man has to accept. If you're at your job and you're not happy at your job, either leave your job or work on leaving. If you're in your so-called relationship and you know that you're on point, you're a productive, functional individual, and the person that you're with is negative, is constantly trying to cut you down, you have to leave that environment. You have to leave that situation if that person is not receptive to communication. All right, that's part of being happy. That's the reason why a lot of you black men have such short lifespans. You spend too much time in your life tolerating and taking shit and receiving negativity. All right. That's why I say I don't receive negativity. Once again, when I see people on the channel who are not happy, I ask them kindly to leave. You need to go find a channel that's better for you. All right. Because I'm not going to change my message at all. So it just is what it is. But anyway, let's get back to the topic.
Do you have any issue with Durant thinking and saying he's better than LeBron?
Issue with him saying it, no. I completely agree with you, though. I think this is like a little sign of disrespect for LeBron that's starting to creep into the entire NBA. I think they feel like LeBron's reached his apex, and he's going to start. And so get your shots in early. Don't wait till after it's obvious to everyone. Start firing your shots now.
He didn't fire a shot. All he did was respond to a sentiment from a fan. And no top NBA player is going to say that somebody else is better than them. If you ask Kyrie, do you think that Steph is better than you? Of course, he's going to say no. And Steph Curry has been much more successful in his career than Kyrie Irving. All right. But of course, Kyrie is going to say no. If you ask Dame Lillard if Steph is better than him, he's going to say no. That's part of being a competitor.
LeBron said something really interesting during the year. I didn't really embrace it. I couldn't get my arms around it, but I thought about it the other day. that remember when the guys were stars were missing games, and they went and asked LeBron about it, and LeBron said, "Nobody cares stars are missing games." He goes, "San Antonio's been missing it for 8 years. They care I miss games."
That's a lie, and that's just LeBron being infatuated with himself, and that's also you being infatuated with LeBron because you're a LeBron butt boy, just like Shannon Sharp. All right? The NBA has been against guys resting players who are healthy for a long time. All right? The first time that they really came down on someone was when David Stern came down on San Antonio when they arrested Tim Duncan, Manu, and Tony Parker and didn't even bring them into Miami to play the Heat. All right? That's what it's always been about. The NBA is a business. You're selling stars. The stars willingly don't want to play. That's a bad business model for your constituency, that being the fans. Bottom line.
And you know what? He's right. It was never an issue. And it's like the league is basically saying, okay, you can't miss games. And LeBron's saying, when I broke into this league, the NBA finals that year were the lowest since 81. No golfer ever rips Tiger because they get what he did for them, for the purses. Why are basketball players, the media, taking shots at LeBron? This league was in trouble.
Nobody's taking shots at LeBron. Nobody's taking shots at anyone who presents himself as a king. When you're a king, you sit on a mountaintop, right? So you have to expect spears and arrows to come at you. People want the throne. That's part and parcel of that vocation, that position. You have to live with that.
It was New Jersey in the finals.
Yeah, San Antonio, terrible.
The ratings were
Much
dead.
is given, much is expected.
Exactly. Like Whitlock said, to whom much is given, much is required.
LeBron's not some Teflon or some thin-skinned little child that you can't occasionally spank. Everyone appreciates him. You can still take your little shots.
It's different. It's a different time, and I think the respect level that I know guys have for Michael Jordan, it was certain things you were going to say you weren't going to say to Michael Jordan.
Right.
In the public media. Now, there were things behind closed doors. Don't get me wrong. It was stuff that the New York Knicks said about Michael Jordan because they didn't care. They were a different breed. Oak, Mason, all those guys, Greg Anthony, Derek Harper, they didn't care.
All that's true, but all those guys back then thought that they were better than Jordan. If you ask Patrick Ewing, if you ask Charles Barkley, as a matter of fact, there's an interview on YouTube with Charles Barkley from 1993 when they played the Bulls in the finals, and he was being interviewed by Bob Costas, and Bob Costas asked him if he thought that Michael Jordan was better than him, and Charles Barkley said flat out, no, never. I would never say that, because then that person has a psychological advantage. So a lot of this stuff is overblown. A lot of these guys try to make Jordan out to be somebody who never was attacked. Jordan was actually attacked far worse than LeBron. All right? Far worse than LeBron by his peers.
But in regards to other players kind of going at Mike's neck, like we like to say, you didn't see it.
That's not true. You saying that because you came into the NBA in the 90s. In the late 80s, early 90s, before Jim Jackson got in the league, they used to come at Mike's neck. No problem. No problem. They came at his neck.
I think it's always been something with LeBron, though, in regards to other players.
Yes.
They've always appreciated his talent. They always appreciated what he's done for the game.
And everybody smells it.
But he's sensitive, and so is Kevin Durant. And here's my theory why. I've really looked at some of the dogs that really play. The absence of a father at home tends to lead to guys being more sensitive.
Thank you, sir. I've said that already in the past. All right? When you don't have that father figure, that male energy, it leads to people being mentally unstable. Why is that? Because they're subject to being in a home or in a house with all female energy. And look, I'm going to say this, and I really don't give a shit who don't like it or who gets mad. The energy of the woman is energy of confusion. For the most part, it's energy of negativity. Now, you have certain women who are mature-minded, but for the most part, most of them are pretty much running around like chickens with their heads cut off. All right? They pretty much just get themselves together to go to work because they know that they have to have an income coming in to maintain the facade of female independence. But a lot of these young children are growing up in households with very confused women, with women that have the energy of doubt, of overall disconnect to reality, that delusional mentality of everything is supposed to go my way, and if things don't go my way, I throw a tantrum. A lot of these young boys are growing up in households surrounded by females with with the mother and the sisters, and they like to attack the little boys for sport because they couldn't attack the grown man because the grown man had an option to leave the house. The little boy does not have the option to leave the house, so they attack him and they try to demean and emasculate him and get him acclimated to being around females that are dominant in the household. All right. That's why you have a lot of men running around today talking about so-called black men talking about the black woman as God, because they've grown up in households where that was the configuration, that the black woman had she had the final say in all things. And oftentimes she would demean and emasculate her son because he looked like his father and she couldn't control the father. So now she's going to take it out on him. All these things play into the creation of the so-called black male psyche. All right. And they've had a very deleterious effect on how the so-called black man views himself, how he interacts with others, how he responds to adversity. All right. These are problems, how so-called black men relate to each other. All right. It's become a major, major problem. And you see it, as Jim Jackson touched on, in the NBA. These guys, with their little nitpicking and they whining and they bitching, their little female mind games that they think are so deep and so chess-like, and they're really not. You're not playing chess. You just acting like a hoe. All right. You can see it.
You think about it. Kevin Durant, lovely mother, raised them, epitome of a young man that does the right thing. So is LeBron. But one thing they lack is a father figure. A father figure that pushes you a little bit different than what a mother can or can't. Kobe Bryant, father figure. Michael Jordan, father figure. Larry Bird, father figure. Magic Johnson. Now, the outlier may be Allen Iverson from that perspective because he's just a little built differently.
Well, Allen Iverson also had a father figure. He just didn't have the actual father in his life, but he did have the father figure. All right. But, Allen Iverson came into the league when, you had to have that dog mentality. But just like Jim Jackson is saying, Kobe Bryant, all those guys, they had that strong male father figure. At the end of the day, the mentality is you either get the job done or you don't. All right. When you have the female mentality is, oh, well, it didn't happen because of such and such. And, I didn't have any help and yada, yada, yada. All right. That's part of the entitlement mentality.
Without having really that true father figure. But the sensitivity does, I think, for me, come from that. And that's why you have a lot of these little jabs going back and forth.
Exactly.
A lot of times that we may think is simple, but to them, it's a little bit
That's
different.
pretty impressive, Jim. I mean, I'm not going to get on that psychological level, but I went on the herd a month ago and I said I have no issue with this. Kevin Durant is better at this juncture than LeBron. Again, he's almost 4 years younger. We just saw the finals. 35 points a game. Destroyed LeBron in the fourth quarter. Remember game 3? Kevin Durant had 14 in the fourth, including the game winner over LeBron. And this is not a knock against LeBron. Okay, guys? LeBron averaged a triple-double. That's great. Look, Kevin Durant was the finals of the MVP. And Whitlock, hold on. Let me get this in. Do you remember 1991? Magic was on top of the league, back-to-back MVPs, goes up against Jordan. Jordan takes him down in the finals in 5 games. Jordan was then the king of the league. I believe Kevin Durant's now going to be the king of the...
Well, he's going to rule in the co-regency with Steph Curry, but it's because they have the best team.
Of the NBA.
I don't think Kevin Durant's better than LeBron right now. But I hear
He's
your
in a
point.
better situation.
He's in a much
In
better
some
situation.
aspects of his game, he's better than LeBron.
But Jim, you've made a hell of a point that's a much bigger conversation than we have time for right now, that I hadn't all the way thought through, but I have always thought LeBron is sensitive. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, there's certain things wrong with it depending on the situation. All right. There are certain things that's wrong with being sensitive depending on the situation, depending on how sensitive you are, and depending on whether or not you're able to move past things the way that you need to. We're all going to go through traumatic things in life. But life only moves forward. It doesn't move back.
It's the product of an era where so many African-American kids are brought up without their fathers. And
let me say this. Nowadays, so many children, period, are being brought up without their fathers. All right. America has become a society that glamorizes so-called quote unquote single motherhood. Why is that? Because they want the child to be raised by the state. I've mentioned this already. When you don't have a man in the house, there is no proper check and balance. There is no man there to say, oh, this, what you see on TV, this is bullshit. For the most part, the woman believes everything that she sees on television. They're very, very easy to brainwash and program. The man is the one who acts as a buffer between the bullshit and their child. The woman, for the most part, puts her entire trust in the state. It's very hard for the woman to question anything because the woman is she's easily placated by whoever is providing her with the substance that she needs to survive. All right. The man is much more likely to question the status quo and what's going on around him.
That it does create a different persona and a different personality. And again, in terms of, you said it, but I'm going to reiterate it. You didn't go at Jordan's neck because Jordan was the type of guy that would make you pay price for that.
No, people went at Jordan's neck. That's revisionist history. All right, people are just talking a lot of bullshit now.
On the court and in every way possible. LeBron does.
Now in the 90s, it was a little different. All right, but late 80s up until I say about 92, people went at Michael's neck.
Doesn't do that. He may pick up his ball and go home and go play someplace else, but in terms of really extracting, occasionally he does, because Golden State got after him a year ago in the finals, and it brought out a beast in LeBron we had never seen.
Well, part of the beast that came out of LeBron was also due to the fact that the game was so wide open, and Golden State had lost a lot of the people that they needed to help corral him. Because he wasn't doing shit the first 4 games of the series. And then all of a sudden, the last 3 games, he turned into a beast when they lost a lot of their key players.
LeBron had the situation in Dallas when he was in Miami. And then the next year. But Jordan makes you pay instantly.
So does Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe
so
makes
Kobe.
Makes you pay instantly. And so you've made a hell of a point about that era of guys. But here, I'll give you a great warrior. Isaiah Thomas, no father during that. Warrior. But
well, his father was in and out of the home, but he had a lot of older brothers. All right, but Isaiah Thomas was very sensitive, but he grew up in a different era.
But that era was dominated by guys that there was only one way to carry it. You had to be a warrior.
Well, it's also different. Back then, everybody was fighting for the financial pie. Everybody's getting a little piece.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting rich now.
Yeah.
I mean, Cody Zeller is going to make as much money as Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
I mean, that's the league now. So I mean, everybody's a star now. I love your point, and I think you're really hitting on something. But I do think the players now are taking. Remember, their guys were flying commercial. Everybody's getting rich, and the culture now in the NBA is don't hit the moneymaker. We're all getting rich. They're all a little more pampered. And they're all a little more aware of their brand, what's said about them on YouTube. I think that is another component to what Jim's saying is they're all a little sensitive these days.
Right now, these guys, they're much more corporate savvy, corporate conscious. So, it's not about really going to war on the court as much as it was back in the day. And good for them. It's good that they're able to monetize their skills and their gifts more, right? As opposed to buying into the gladiator mentality where you just end up being used up. All right. It's like that brother who plays for the New York Jets, Jamal Adams, who claimed that he would die on the field. Well, that's a sentiment that I understand due to passion and youth. But now you hear about this guy, Jim Plunkett, who basically says that he's a prisoner in his own body, right? The former quarterback of the New England Patriots and Oakland Raiders. So, it's easy to talk about how you'll die on the field and you'll give your all for the game when you're 21 and healthy. But when you're 60 years old and none of your joints work and, you're hearing voices in your head telling you to kill yourself, that's a whole different thing. All right.
But I would be mad if Durant didn't think that he was better than
So would
LeBron. I would be upset because you have the game. You've proven that. And him saying that is not, like you said, a slap on LeBron. It's just where I'm at right now.
Players couldn't go after Jordan on social media in the 80s,
And like I said, and I agree with Jim Jackson yet again, Kevin Durant is supposed to believe that he's better than LeBron. All top players believe that they're the best in the NBA. If they didn't believe that, they wouldn't have made it.
It couldn't happen.
All right, coming up.
But yeah, that was a good little segment. They always have a pretty good round table on this show, particularly in relation to linking up sports with certain life issues. But yeah, the lack of a father figure in the home, you can see how it resonates with a lot of these athletes. And that's why it's very important. Once again, that's why I always stress this with you brothers. You have to make the right decision in regards to who you choose to inseminate. All right? Because at the end of the day, once that woman receives your seed, you're pretty much at her mercy. So you have to make sure that you choose wisely. All right? Don't come back 3 years down the line talking about you have a no good baby mama. You had a no good bitch from the start, and she probably showed you numerous times that she was no good, but you chose not to listen. All right? Don't have your child growing up in an empty household where you have various men coming in and out. All right? Part of the culpability will be on you. Of course, a lot of it will be on her as well. But this society does not punish the woman. So you have to take responsibility as a person with a king mentality for both your actions and hers. Because these women, they're going to do whatever. They're all willy-nilly. Like I said, they're like chickens with their heads cut off. When bad shit happens, they're just going to cry and act like they don't know what happened. All right? So you have to make good decisions both for yourself and her in mind and the child. But anyway, peace.